2013 were the people that, the corpses that were picked in that area. It's quite a sad incident, a very unfortunate one. Just like the incident that took place yesterday, we're having a new dimension which we can somehow conclude that it's beyond the issue of herdsmen attacking people, but a murderous gang that is roving around the places, that is actually probably having some kind of, will I say, intelligence of the operation of the security agencies, which may come from inside, because we've noticed the pattern for the past 1-2 weeks that you have security deployment at this location, and about 50 kilometers away from where you have security deployment, that is where they will go and use as target. We've kept on, re-strategizing with a view to put an end to this, the activities of this murderous gang.
Well, there we have the Commissioner of Police in Benue State, Fatai Owosheni, shedding some light on what he thinks is going on and perhaps solutions. But you were making a comment about why Benue.
Benue is strategic. Let's do it this way. If I drew a map and I split this country into two, and I painted the top half of the map, that's up country now, I painted it green. And down country, I painted red. Now, as you come down from up north, the color fades, okay? So up north will be greener, and it keeps coming down. Then from the middle, where the line separates the country into two, down south, I put yellow. Yellow will be thickest around the center line, and it fades until it gets to the shores of the ocean. You will discover that if you blended that map properly, the color midsection of that map will be green and yellow, which is red. I believe fine arts taught me that if you mix green and yellow, it will be red. So Benue is actually what you can call a compendium, a mixture, in any way you want to look at it. It's strategic, it's a food basket, and if you were to do up north, down south, is a frontier to the south. Okay? Now, for whatever reasons, these conspiratists or conspirators that I believe are working have, whatever reason they have, that place is key.
So if they lodge there, you can get supplies.
Yes, I see a gradual trend of decimating that particular state and either winning it or ruining it.
That's the center. That's seen as the center of the country.
That's it.
It's a food basket.
It's a food basket. So if I were a troop commander and I were to choose a base, I'd rather take Benue because my troops will eat, there is water, the river is there, and it's also a frontier overlooking our probably next theater of operations.
Let's get Ajuri in. He's got a question for you. Ajuri.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Captain. I just want to ask you 3 very quick questions, but let me start with this. Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned that Nigerians need to begin to force administrators across tiers and branches to engage in results-oriented governance. I want to ask you, how do Nigerians go about that? How do they force that?
I'll tell you something. Force itself is seldom misconstrued to mean physical brute force. No. No. There is also a very effective and better accepted version of force. It's called soft force. I'll give you an example. I was privileged to be part of a committee that actually submitted a white paper to President Goodluck Jonathan before the elections in 2015 on hate speech. And that committee, I know, still went further to bring from the gentleman president an agreement that whichever way the elections swing, we'll accept it. So it's simple. If you come to me with promises for heaven and paradise, if I elect you, that's cool, that's fine. Everybody wants that. We're going to put it on paper, and you're going to endorse it with a proviso. You don't measure up, you will gladly, willingly resign. Until we do
Captain,
that.
Captain, the second question I have is, if you look at what you referenced earlier when you talked about the difference you've seen in terms of how a commander-in-chief is responded to upon, kind of challenging a subordinate, the difference there, what do you attribute that to, number one, and what do you think the solution is? If the commander-in-chief, if we're seeing these killings across the country, massive casualties, there doesn't seem to be any kind of punishment meted out within these institutions, what is your suggestion in that regard?
Yes, the course to start with is, as I told you, this very sensitive sector of Nigeria called security. I call it a sector, but I don't even think we have a security sector yet. I know there is education sector, agri sector, and what have you. What is responsible for this, as I told you, is politics, ethnicity, and religion trying to be run pari passu with security. It doesn't work. You are either secured or you are not secured. And the solution, results. Results. Commanders, particularly security chieftains, will write their own scripts. That's how I know it. I'm going to call you and say, Gimba, this is a plate full of problems. Which one can you solve? Or I can solve the orange and the apple. Fine. What resources would you want? And how much time can we expect you to solve it within? If you don't get that done, remember you chose your task, then I'll have to let you go.
You know, people are asking this question, that if you have the security chiefs all from one region, it becomes a problem. And these are concerns, genuine concerns by people. If they say, you have all the security chiefs from one side, how do you strike a balance? If all the security chiefs are from one region of the country, that will seem to suggest, and perhaps even buttress, your conspiracy, conspiracy of silence theory.
That's true.
Should that be broken?
Of course, that's one jinx we have to do away with. Let me tell you something from my database, from my own small little research. The most insecure mind in Nigeria is the politician. They're even more insecure than me and you. They suffer an insecurity complex. Okay? And that is what informs wanting to bring your kith and kinsmen and surround yourself with them, because you just feel any other person will not guarantee you the kind of safety you want. But I'm telling you,
that doesn't tell about federal character.
It's perceptive. It doesn't tell about federal character. That's why I said it's about results. You can be my mother's husband. If you don't give me results, that's business. It's nothing sentimental, nothing ethnic, nothing religion.
So what do you think the solution to this is?
The solution, as I told you, is in the people.
How?
Let's start with Benue. When you go to the polls tomorrow, I'm talking to my people in Benue, don't just go and give your votes out for rice and chicken. Give your votes out for stated results, for timelines. Ask for specific things, ask for measurable, achievable, okay, realistic and timely results.
That's in February next year.
Absolutely.
What is going to happen between now to the people of Benue? Because even as we are live on this show, we don't know what's going to happen next, because the police, the commissioner in Benue State, Fatai Owosheni, has somewhat alluded to the fact that they are incapacitated as a police force to patrol and curtail the activities of what he calls, what do he call them again? Is it hoodlums? Or is it?
They are bandits.
Bandits, he calls them bandits. Thank
and
you.
The terrorists.
I'll tell you something. I feel Mr. Fatai Owosheni. I really, really do feel him. When the order was given to the IG to move his men to Benue State, I said it here in this studio that you are not going to do anything but waste policemen. That task is not a calling for the police. The police can do law enforcement, but I tell you, when it comes to aggressive search and destroy, look, let me tell you something now. I don't want to go into these things, but I don't need a company to deny, a specialist commando company, to deny 1 inch of Benue State to those bandits. Simply put, search and destroy missions. Search and destroy missions.
Do you think if...
Simple.
Do you think the... okay, just to wrap this very quickly, what impact do you think that the $1 billion, should I say, approval by the state governors to the country to spend $1 billion of ECA account money to fight insurgency and crimes, do you think that is an effective way that will aid this war and stop these criminal activities, especially in Benue?
Until the results for 1 billion, it could be 10 billion too, dollars are measurable, fixed, you could as well make it 100 billion. It wouldn't make any difference.
One other point. Captain Ali Umar, retired and is a security consultant. We appreciate your coming on this morning.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment. I'll turn our attention to something else. Don't go away.